Okay, so for our next trick, we're going to check whether a number is divisible by 6. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one because we have to test two things. For a number to be divisible by 6, it has to be divisible by 2. So maybe I should just write here divisible by 2. So the first test is whether a number is divisible by 2, and I just wrote it short as even. Any number that is even is going to be divisible by 2, as we saw in a previous video. So I just like to look whether it's odd or even. And then the second test we have to do is whether a number is divisible by 3. So if it's true for both instances, if a number is divisible by 2 and by 3, it will be divisible by 6. So the reason for it is because 2 and 3 are both factors of 6. So if 2 and 3 go into a number, then we know, well, that number will be divisible by 6. So for my examples, I made these little block marks. You don't have to do that. It's just for me. So I just do 2 checks, and then let's see how it goes. I'm just going to take this divisibility by 2 away because it's just like, it's the same thing. I just like to ask if it's even or odd. So let's just start with a really, really easy example, and we know 12. So I know 12 is divisible by 6, but I have to do 2 tests. So the first test is it even or odd? So I know 12 is an even number because I can see it's an even number because the unit value is a, well, even number. So it's divisible by 2. So the first check, that's right. So if I see it's an even number, then I can check the next one, which is if it's divisible by 3. So for the divisibility by 3 test, I just add the numbers. So I say 1 plus 2, and I know that would be 3. So is 3 divisible by 3? Yes. So in this case, both are correct. So this 12 is definitely divisible by 6. Okay, the next example, I know we can see it's not going to be divisible by 6, but let's just look at the test. So the first test I have is whether 15 is an even or an odd number, or whether it's divisible by 2. And I can see because this is an odd number, it's not going to be divisible by 2. It's an odd number, so that it fails the first test. So I don't even have to check for divisibility by 3. I know it's divisible by 3 because 1 plus 5 is 6, and 3 will go into 6. But I don't have to test it because it fails the first test. So if it's an odd number, then off the bat, I don't even have to test for divisibility by 3. And I can just say, okay, well, 15 is not divisible by 6 because it's an odd number. Okay, for the next one, 36. So I know 6 times 6 is 36. So it's going to be expected that this works. But we can just run the test. So the first test is whether it's an even number or an odd number. And 36 is definitely an even number because 6 is even. So I know this will be divisible by 2. So it works. First test is true. Yay, that works. And then the second test would be whether the number is divisible by 3. So to test that, I just add 3 and 6. And 3 and 6 would be 9. And I know 3 will go into 9. So yes, it passes both tests. So 36 is divisible by 6 because it's an even number and because it's divisible by 3. Okay, so for the next one, we have 600. Now, again, we'd expect it to work because it's just 6 times 100. But let's just run the test. So the first test is whether it's an even number or an odd number. And the test is, well, is it even? Yes, it's even. I can see it's an even number, so that works. And the second test is whether it's divisible by 3. And for that, I just add the numbers. So 6 plus 0 plus 0, that would be 6. And obviously that works because 3 can go into 6 without any remains. So in this case, both are true. And I know that 600 is divisible by 6. Oh, I forgot to make the check mark there. Cool. So for the next one, we have 711. So I can immediately see that this is an odd number. So it fails the first test. So this will not be divisible by 6. I didn't even have to run the test and say 7 plus 1 plus 1. We can do it. So I'm going to do it in, let's say, make it in red. Let's do it like, I know 7 plus 1 is going to be 9. and 3 will go into 9. So it will pass the second test, but I don't even have to do all that effort because I know that 711 is odd, so 6 will not go into it. So even if it passes the second test, it doesn't matter. It still remains an odd number, so 6 will not be able to go into it. And then for our last number here, we have 2802. So I can see this is an even number, so it passes the first test. And the second test is just adding the numbers and seeing if it's divisible by 3. So let's just quickly do that. Say 2 plus 8 plus 0 plus 2 equals, that would be 12. And will 3 go into 12? Absolutely yes. So because it passes both tests, it's even or divisible by 2, and it's divisible by 3. 2802 will definitely be divisible by 6. So again, it's a bit of a different way of working because we have 2 tests, but it's a quick test, odd or even, and then just check whether it's divisible by 3.